Have you ever wondered where the final bastion of American resistance in the Pacific during World War II was? Let's journey back in time to a place of great strategic importance and historical significance, the island of Corregidor. Nestled at the mouth of Manila Bay in the Philippines, Corregidor is a tadpole-shaped island that was a crucial component of America's defense plan in the Pacific during the pre-war era. This tiny island, spanning just about 3 square miles, was a formidable fortress, bristling with heavy artillery that commanded the entrance to Manila Bay, a natural harbor and an essential gateway to the Philippines. Before the outbreak of World War II, Corregidor was more than just a military outpost. It was a vibrant community where soldiers, their families, and a host of civilian employees lived and worked. The island was replete with barracks, hospitals, schools, and even a cinema. But its most defining feature was the network of tunnels and fortifications that crisscrossed the island, forming a subterranean labyrinth designed to withstand even the most intense aerial bombardment. As the Pacific pivot of America's defense strategy, Corregidor was the linchpin. Its guns controlled the seaward approaches to Manila, and its location made it an invaluable naval base and an air station. But this strategic importance also made it a prime target for enemy forces. As the 1930s drew to a close, the storm clouds of war were gathering. The United States, aware of the looming threat, fortified Corregidor, upgrading its defenses and reinforcing its garrisons. The island became a symbol of American military might in the Pacific, a bulwark against the rising tide of aggression. Yet for all its strength and strategic importance, Corregidor was not invincible. As the world plunged into the chaos of World War II, the island fortress found itself in the crosshairs of the Japanese Imperial Army. As the war cloud loomed, Corregidor, the rock fortress, braced itself for a tempest like never before. In December 1941, the storm of war finally broke out. The conflict that had been brewing in Europe had now spread to the Pacific. The Second World War was in full swing, and the Japanese forces, with their eyes set on the Philippines, moved swiftly and ruthlessly. The Philippines, a country of numerous islands, was a strategic location for the Japanese in their quest for dominance in the Pacific. The initial battles were fierce, as the American Filipino forces tried to hold off the advancing Japanese. But the Japanese forces were relentless. They had a plan, and they executed it with brutal efficiency. In a matter of weeks, Manila, the capital of the Philippines, fell to the Japanese. It was a significant blow to the American Filipino forces. The fall of Manila signified a shift in the balance of power. The Japanese were now in control, and the American Filipino forces had to retreat. They retreated to Bataan and Corregidor, 2 strategic locations that were still under American control. Bataan, a peninsula on the island of Luzon, and Corregidor, a small rocky island at the entrance of Manila Bay, became the last bastions of resistance against the Japanese. The retreat to Bataan and Corregidor was a strategic move. The goal was to hold off the Japanese as long as possible, to buy time for the arrival of reinforcements. But the reinforcements never came. The American Filipino forces were on their own, outnumbered and outgunned, but they didn't give up. They fought bravely, holding the line against the Japanese for as long as they could. They knew that the fate of the Philippines rested on their shoulders. They were the last line of defense. Corregidor, the last American stronghold in the region, was about to face its greatest challenge. The battle for Corregidor was about to begin, a battle that would determine the fate of the Philippines during World War II. The stage was set for one of the most significant conflicts in the Pacific theater of the war. By April 1942, Corregidor stood alone. The Philippines' last bastion against the invading Japanese forces, this tiny island fortress bore the brunt of a relentless siege. This was the Siege of Corregidor, a pivotal moment in the Pacific theater of World War II, where courage and tenacity met the harsh realities of war. The American Filipino forces, led by General Douglas MacArthur, held their ground, facing a barrage of heavy artillery fire and aerial bombardment. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, these brave soldiers stood defiant against the invading forces. For them, surrender was not an option. They knew that every moment they held, they bought precious time for their allies in the Pacific. The island, known as the Rock, was soon transformed into a landscape of destruction. The incessant bombardment left the once bustling military installations in ruins. Yet, the spirit of the defenders remained unbroken. They dug in, converting the island's intricate tunnel system into makeshift hospitals, command centers, and living quarters. However, the situation was far from ideal. The lack of supplies was acute. Food and water were rationed, medical supplies dwindled, and the wounded often had to endure their injuries without the comfort of painkillers. The soldiers lived in constant fear of the next bombardment, the next assault. The relentless Japanese assaults battered the island, each wave more ferocious than the last. Yet, amidst this chaos and carnage, there were moments of profound humanity. Soldiers shared their rations, comforted their wounded comrades, and stood shoulder to shoulder against the onslaught. They drew strength from each other, their camaraderie a beacon of hope in those dark times. But even the bravest of warriors have their limits. The relentless bombardments, the scarcity of supplies, and the unyielding Japanese assaults began to take their toll. The defenders were worn down, their numbers dwindling. The situation on Corregidor was becoming increasingly desperate. Despite the valiant defense, Corregidor was falling. The siege of Corregidor was a testament to the indomitable spirit of its defenders. A poignant chapter in the annals of war where valor and sacrifice were the order of the day. On May 6, 1942, Corregidor fell. It was a day marked by the deafening roar of artillery, the acrid scent of gunpowder, and the relentless pursuit of victory. The final days of the battle were nothing short of heroic. The defenders, though dwindling in number and resources, held on with a tenacity that echoed the island's rugged terrain. Their last-ditch efforts were like the island itself, a bastion of resistance in the face of overwhelming odds. With every shot fired, every shell lobbed, they were not just fighting for their lives, but for the very soul of Corregidor. But despite their valor, the enemy was relentless, pressing forward with a force that was as brutal as it was unyielding. The final blow came not with a bang, but with a chilling radio message from General Jonathan Wainwright, the commander of the Allied forces in the Philippines. With broken heart and head bowed in sadness, but not in shame, I report to you that today I must arrange terms for the surrender of the fortified islands of Manila Bay. The aftermath was a grim tableau of war's cruel aftermath. The survivors, now prisoners of war, were herded like cattle, their once proud uniforms now tattered and grimy. The island, once a proud sentinel at the mouth of Manila Bay, was now under the iron heel of the Japanese. Yet, amidst the wreckage and despair, there was a spark of hope, a flicker of defiance. Corregidor had fallen, yes, but its spirit was unbroken. The island, with its battered fortifications and scarred landscape, stood as a testament to the courage and resilience of its defenders. It was a beacon of hope in the darkest of times, a symbol of the indomitable spirit of resistance that would eventually lead to the liberation of the Philippines. Corregidor had fallen, but its spirit was unbroken. In 1945, the tables turned. As the war tide shifted, American forces, now allied with Filipino guerrillas, embarked on a mission to liberate Corregidor. The battle for the recapture of Corregidor, codenamed Operation Topside, marked a pivotal moment in the Pacific War. It was a testament to American resolve and Filipino resilience, a beacon of hope amidst the ravages of war. Now imagine the scene. The once impregnable fortress, fallen to the Japanese forces 3 years prior, was to be reclaimed. A daring parachute drop, the first of its kind in the Pacific War, was executed by the 503rd Parachute Infantry Regiment of the United States Army. They were bolstered by a naval bombardment from the USS Nashville, and the combined might of their efforts led to the Japanese being driven back. The liberation of Corregidor was more than just a military victory. It was symbolic. It represented the undying spirit of freedom, the refusal to yield in the face of oppression. It was a testament to the fact that even in the darkest of times, hope prevails. In the years following the war, Corregidor has served as a stark reminder of the past. Today, it stands as a monument to courage, a symbol of the unwavering bond between the Philippines and the United States. Its tunnels, barracks, and artillery emplacements, though battered and scarred, are enduring symbols of resistance. They tell a story of bravery and sacrifice, a narrative etched into the annals of history. The legacy of Corregidor extends beyond its physical remains. It's a cornerstone of Filipino and American history, a chapter of a shared past that continues to shape the present. It's a story of resilience, of nations united in the face of adversity, and of the indomitable human spirit. The tale of Corregidor, a testament to courage and resilience, continues to echo through the ages.